ended less than 20 minutes. It just looked like Ret just couldn't stop a simple timing, but this is different. Ret is just playing so calculating. There's nothing Alicia could do game number 1 that Ret didn't see. And I mean, he delayed everything. He delayed Link Speed, delayed Ro4, but you know what, Andre? It's game number 2. It's a fresh slate, and Ret has to do this again if he wants to keep that momentum going to the finals.
Yeah, let's see if he can do that, or if Alicia can overcome it. In the top left-hand position as the blue Protoss, we do have Short Stuff, a.k.a. Alicia, as I said, the blue Protoss. Bottom right-hand position, we have the red Zerg, Liquid Ret. Now, I want to go into it a little bit because, you know, let's be honest, in game number 1, it was kind of very fortunate for Ret. Finding that Stargate so fast actually gives him such a dramatic advantage.
Yeah.
You know, you just are allowed to do things that you're not supposed to do. There's a lot of things like, you know, preparing for that 4-gate, or preparing for even 6-gate, 7-gate, whatever it might be. That's a lot of indirect damage that normally happens. So Ret was able to play, as you said, with like Black Sheep Wall, with something free. But how does he actually go about it when he doesn't have that Super Scout?
Yeah, he has to play a little bit more cautious, has to place buildings a little bit earlier, can't squeeze out as many drones. I mean, at that point, Ret was free to do whatever he wanted because he knew for this period of time, for 2, 3, 4 minutes, there's nothing really Alicia could do. And at that point, Ret felt really comfortable. Now, this is also something that we've been seeing Ret do a lot. He just said, I'm not even going to try to contend for my natural expansion. I'm just going to go straight for my 3rd. And that's a really cool attitude because I know Ret's been able to really work his way around it rather than just trying to get frustrated, trying to get a hatchery down with the probe there. Yeah,
the one thing Ret has to be careful of is any cannon rushes. That's entirely possible through what he knows. But now that he sees the Forge is just coming up, he knows it's most likely going to be Nexus first through what he sees. And I like where both these players are at, honestly. But Alicia really not blocking any of these hatcheries. I think he really could have if he wanted to. It's interesting that he doesn't.
I think he was just expecting Ret to try to go for the natural, but at this point, Alicia's going to recall. And I mean, if there's another map that Stargate is good on, we saw MC do Stargate on this map as well. And I think, I mean, Alicia could try to rework it, but what do you think Alicia really needs to work on? Is it just simply the building placement, or is it how he approached his harass? What do you think he can really fix for this game as well?
Yeah, I think it is the building placement, honestly. You need to, in the beginning of the stages, you need to keep track of where those overlords initially are. Now, last game it was a little bit difficult, but this game, you can kind of sort of guess where they're going to be. Ohana is a fixed 1v1 map, but so is Antigua Shipyard, but still, like, that was a little bit out in the open. I think if Alicia just adjusts that a little bit, the drone count won't be nearly as high for Ret unless he wants to take a super high risk.
Absolutely. We can see the Cybernetic core is going to be placed just outside the Nexus. Now, the thing about Ohana is that the main base is not as big as other maps like Antigua Shipyard we just saw, like Shakura's Plateau, where you can kind of hide things. And so the Overlord does have a pretty good sight just at the natural alone, and if you just move up, you can catch good spots as well. And a good thing to kind of note is also the pylon placements of where Alicia's doing. His first 2 pylons are at his natural, so Ret can see, well, there's 2 pylons here, there has to be one in the main, I can try to look for buildings there. There's just different clever ways you can move around it. And Alicia is coming to that crux point around the 5 to 6 minute mark, somewhere between where he has to make a decision where he's going to travel from his tech.
Sure. First initial, well, actually not first initial gas, but he is going to get +1 and Warp Gate. Not chrono boosting them out just yet. You can see all the chrono boosts being allocated more towards probes. So already we can see 39 to 29. We're going to see a more, 3-base oriented PVZ, where Protoss is looking to get most likely his expansion off of just a couple sentries and Immortal, and then go from there.
And you can see that at this point, Ret is getting just 1 geyser. Oh, no, just kidding, he's getting 2. Last game, he got only 1, and then eventually went for Link Speed earlier. But now Ret's splitting up his geysers. You have been pretty vocal about this, making sure that to kind of give Protoss a little bit more mystery in terms of your geysers. What do you think about that as well, Andre?
I mean, it's very, very negligible in my opinion. But I do prefer both geysers to be on the natural, because now all of a sudden, if the Protoss scouts it out with, let's say, a Zealot or something like that, well, they know 2 geysers are there, but they don't know if 2 geysers are in the main. So you have the potential of having at most, at most 4 geysers there. But with 1 over here, it's just at most 3, and it's going to be at least 2. So, it's all about the mind games at that point, but it's very, very rare that you actually see that from Zerg.
Now, we have seen Alicia go for a 7-gate Robo Immortal attack on this map in the past. And it's very viable as well, just because Ohana, even though there are spots that you can kind of flank and surround, if you attack from that high ground right above Red's third, you can kind of force yourself up against walls that are really nice and really comfortable for force fields and immortals to wreck everything. But at the same time, Alicia, what does he have in store for his plan? Because we've seen him also go for fast thirds in PvZ, but he really likes sticking to those 2-base timings. And based off his opening, it just seems like he's going to play very standard reactive Protoss and really just go for that standard Immortal build.
Yeah, he might do the Immortal build. I'm not sure where he's going with this. Normally, you get a Twilight Council and instantly get the +2. +1 armor is a little bit interesting. It does mean that you want a little bit more confrontation. Normally, when you're defending stuff, it's like, I want the battle to be over. So you get your +2 really, really fast to make sure that everything just dies so fast. So getting the +1 armor actually tells me he might be thinking about doing some sort of... no, he's not going to. I thought he was going to do some sort of pressure with this, but apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of flexibility. When you have those minerals, you can drop gates, go for aggression, or just choose to expand. And I think at this point, that means Alicia's just so comfortable against Ret. But at the same time, Ret knows of what Alicia's intentions, at least it is for now. And Ret is placing his Spire, and he has his drone count already set almost at 70. He's at 68 drones already, Andre.
That's phenomenal.
And he's putting 10 more drones. Wow. Ret, he's so smart.
13, going up to 81, 82, 83 drones. My God. And he's making these calls based on the fact that I think he saw the robot. Yeah, he did see the robotics facility. He sees the couple gateways. It could potentially be Immortal Expand, but obviously, or it could potentially be like an Immortal Push, excuse me.
Yeah, you have to always be careful. Make sure to be really diligent with your scouting. And you can see Ret is just making the right calls, taking that 4th base. I mean, Alicia is also doing the right things, just getting up his Twilight Council. So we have a pretty, actually, it's going to be a sustained period of passivity from both players. But with Ret having that Spire out and seeing Immortal Sentry really be the core of Alicia's build, this is what we've been seeing nonstop for months out of Protosses. And with that, Ret's even going to take a 5th base. These are excellent moves as he prepares for a Muta transition.
Yeah, he's readying just mass Mutas at this point. It's Zergling Muta. And what this focuses on, especially on this map, is just getting your opponent out of position. You can see this expansion is a lined format expansion. That means you have to take more position in order to gain more expansions. That's not similar to maps like Antigua Shipyard, where it's I take my 3rd and I kind of cover my natural at the same time. This gives Mutas the ability to do a ton of damage. So they can swoop around, just kill a lot of probes over here. Yeah, take some Stalker fire, but what it's also going to do is force a lot of cannons over here as well.
Yeah, Alicia caught sight of the Mutas with his Observer, so good movement, and now he knows. And he's trying to defend his mineral lines as best as possible. And you can see Ret's going to fly in here, and he doesn't really have anything to do with it, but he's actually going to stay for a while. And Alicia's going to warp in more Stalkers, and Ret will lose a couple Mutas here. After, how many workers did he end up killing there? Just 2.
Ooh, Zergling's going to run into the right-hand side and try to pick off something, but of course there are too many units over there. You know, what's really nice is Ret could potentially just go into that right-hand side and just pick off the sentries and get out and just say, okay, well, I just lost Zerglings, not bad. But instead he's going to go into the natural. The Forge is actually almost done with +2, but he's not going to focus that down. Mutas are going to take out the cannon and just get out.
Yeah, just really try to harass and force the Protoss to make a mistake. If, for some reason, Alicia ever gets way out of position, you can have those Mutas get into the area that Alicia is not protecting and get a huge economic advantage. But you can see right now, Alicia is turtling and just trying to get that Templar Archives. He needs Storm really to deal with this army, or at the very least, get some kind of Archon to really anchor his army. You can see that Ret's also going for 2-prong aggression, trying to push at the natural while diving the Stalkers in the main, Andre.
And this is going to be so successful. The Zergling's going into the 3rd base, completely undefended. Alicia brought all of his units over, and he's going to get rid of all the probes over here.
And meanwhile, the Stalkers in the main are fighting very nicely. Alicia was Blink Stalker microing, but the 3rd Nexus is under heavy siege, and Andre Ret's going to dive as well.
Oh my God, he's going to get the Nexus! Unbelievable. Ret is going to take a giant advantage in this best-of-7 series. That puts him really nicely ahead in this game.
Yeah, just because it slows the gas intake so much. And he needs every single piece, especially with Templar coming out. He's going to go for another attack, trying to see if he can dive the sentries. A lot of sentries are vulnerable. There's not that many Stalkers because there were a lot in the main. Ret trying to catch the army out of position. Archon is trying to form as well. The Stalkers do blink forward, and Ret does eject But Ret has everything he wants. He can put non-stop pressure, making 30, 40 more Zerglings. And he also has pretty just decent creep spread as well, just covering halfway across the map, so reinforcements are coming that much faster.
This is ill-fated. He does not want to push up. Oh my god, the Zergling's getting great position. Big blink up, but he does get a good surround. Look at that. Stalker's going down so fast. He needs those to take out the Mutas. Although he has stopped Mutas. Look at this, an Infestor switch. That's so, so cool, Frodan. And Hive is almost finished. He's almost certainly probably going to go to Broodlords from here.
Yeah, and the big thing is that this is the timing that Protoss would love to hit, right? The Hive just finished, that Zerg really can't capitalize on it, can't use any of their upgrades or tech, but Alicia really doesn't have that strong of an army. He's got 19 Stalkers and 1 Immortal and just a couple of Zealots. That's nothing really, and as long as Red is able to hold off this push, what can really, I mean, Alicia's not even going to go for that push because he doesn't have that strong of an army.
He can't. And you know what? Red could probably go Ultras at this point too, and that's a pretty fair way to actually deal with this. Think about how many Stalkers are here. Now, Stalkers can actually focus down the Ultras pretty effectively, but because you have those Infestors still around, it's still pretty effective. So, I mean, he's so far ahead right now that he can really do any Hive tech choice and get paid off. He is choosing to go for the Greater Spire. That's a great, I think, a better all-around decision. But Red, my god, he is so far ahead in this game. And High Templars are out in the field now, so that'll help out quite substantially. But remember, he's not even going for Mutas anymore.
He's not, and what's so clever is that Red's been trading units. He's been picking off Immortals here, picking off Sentries there, and what does that empower? The Roaches. He has got a lot more Roaches that are in the field at this point, so that way he doesn't have to worry too much about them being ineffective, as well as locking them down with the fungal growth. And you can see that Red at this point just has the entire half of the map completely dominated and making sure to keep tabs on the Protoss army at all times, making sure that expansion opportunities are shut down.
Yeah, he does want a couple of trades pretty soon. You can see that Red is actually not building up a bank. He's really working on his quality amounts of units because he's been kind of just throwing a bunch of Zerglings together and trying to make some sort of work. Now, Zerglings are not good quality units at this endgame stage, so you do want to eventually trade it out for Corruptors or Broodlords, and then you're in a manageable situation where you can go 200 food against 200 food.
Now, 3 Broodlords are in production, and by the time Alicia really hits anywhere close to the Zerg base, the Broodlords will almost be done, but I mean, Ret is now starting to the point of going over max because he's able to cancel some buildings. Alicia's going to try to move to the left side. He does have several storms, but Fungal Growth can really throw a wrench into things if he can get it, but there's a lot of storms that drop immediately, trying to force the Zerglings back, and the Infestors do lock down the army, but Ret's just got so much stuff. He's got a lot of units in production. It's all Zerglings, and Ret does have a couple of Broodlords finished, but he's not bringing them to the fight.
That was a pretty good fight for Alicia, actually. If he can actually continue the momentum, because there are just no units, but 90 Zerglings in queue. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that is going to absolutely tear apart this army. There's no way that he can stop this.
And here comes the onslaught. Ret does lose that hatchery, but Alicia immediately has to evacuate, but Ret might not allow him to leave. The High Templar does try to feedback to make sure there's no fungal, but Ret has a huge surround on the Protoss army, and it is absolutely plummeting in supply. Alicia now has to back off, and during this whole time, Alicia has not been able to take a forward base whatsoever. And you can see that Ret is putting on some counter-aggression. He does have Broodlords, but they are pretty slow. He's just using Zerglings at this moment.
Yeah, and that's all he really needs. I mean, these Zerglings are at 2-2, pretty good upgrades against the 3-2 Stalkers, but there's just so many of them. Alicia doesn't have any quality gas tech into his army, which is a big problem going into this end game. You want motherships, you want Templars, you want Archons, you want Colossus. He has none of those.
Alicia does have a Warp Prism, and oh, he discovers where the Greater Spire is, so he definitely wants to snipe that eventually, but Ret has been paying attention. He even sends his drones to attack the Warping and no, don't attack the Greater Spire, but I mean, Ret's pretty much prepared for this, and Alicia's going to warp in more anyways, trying to see if he can really go for the snipe, and I mean, this is really good moves from Alicia. He wants to buy time, and is he going to get the Great Spire?
Oh, it's going to be close. 32. He gets it barely.
Oh.
Wow. Unfortunate for Ret. I really feel like he could have stopped that if he brought all of his units, of course. But Ret, well, let's check in Alicia's mineral line, actually, right now. His natural is pretty much mining out. He's actually oversaturated over here by 3.
Can anyone hear us right now?
And here we go.
Well, Rhett's moving in to the third here, and you see that Blue Lords are pushing out at this point. And you can see that, I mean, Alicia really doesn't have too much. He's only got Stalkers. He doesn't have a direct answer to the Blue Lords. No Mothership in production. Stargate is not even on the field, but you see that anyways, Red's going to push in here. What can Alicia really do at this point?
And here we go. Lots of Zerglings and Roaches coming in here. This is going to be the final fight, it looks like. Can Alicia actually hold this off?
I don't think so. I mean, at this point, Red is just pushing in. Red, his supply is still maintaining high. Alicia is only dropping. Roaches are coming in. More supply is coming in through the source of Zerglings. The crowd is going wild for Red. They really want him to close it out. And you can see that at this point, Alicia is reduced to only just a few Stalkers. Anything that blinks forward anyways is going to die. And at that point, Red is going to crush the third. And if this third drops, Andre, there's nothing left for Alicia.
Alicia is not giving up here. And you can see, oh my gosh, Roach is just pushing all the way in. Another round of units coming in here, but Red has just so much economy behind this. Look at this, 140 supply to 92. He's staying up and about. Roaches on the left-hand side are starting to thin out, but I think everything's looking okay.
Alicia's done a fantastic job trying to maximize efficiency, but there it is, GG! Red takes game number 2, 2-0 lead for Liquid Surge.
Not bad, Liquid Red.
He doesn't even care.
Ain't no thing, man.
He just sips his cup as if it's nothing.
But, I love you guys!
Guys, we'll figure everything out. Thank you to A-Zone Monitors. We'll be back after we fire the sound guy yet again. Don't go anywhere. This is the NASL Season 3 Finals live in Toronto, Canada. We'll be back in just a minute or two.